Do you think maybe some of the things that that need being done should just be done by maybe other people instead of you?
Certainly, that's always the battle is allocating my time in so that I'm doing the things that are most important to the firm. But I don't always get away with that. And sometimes frankly, balls get dropped and I've got to clean them up. Right. And I'm the only JD CPA in our firm. There's about 12 of us total. I'm the only one that has both professions. And so I can do everything that the firm does, but that doesn't mean I should do everything. Right. And so I find that the more the firm grows and the more, the fewer hats I wear, the more I want to take off the hat of practitioner and give that to somebody who's really good, a really good transactional attorney, a really good tax planner, and just focus on strategic, firm level decisions.
Interesting. I wonder, whenever you were going through the whole process, like learning about the ADHD and all that, did you ever get blood tested?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because the reason why I asked that is I noticed I was getting fatigued last year, and went and gotten my thyroid. I was having issues, so I was wondering if you were able to, because I don't think you can test ADHD from blood. So, like, was there anything else that you were able to identify? 'Cause the reason why this is important, I think, is like maintaining our health is obviously really, really important whenever we're running our firms. Otherwise, we can't take care of our people, can't take care of our firm, can't take care of our families. So, was there anything else you were able to identify that helped you kind of get back on track?
So I've done blood work regularly over the last few years. I just do it as part of my annual
smart idea,
physical. Yeah. Luckily it hasn't been anything that's, completely out of place, just kind of some pointers like pre-diabetes, for example. I got to that point where I stopped taking care of myself and that became a concern. And so I had to start wearing a glucose monitor and making some changes around the way I eat and, what I eat and when I eat and things that you wouldn't even consider before.
So I want to talk more about that stuff, because that is an often thing neglected by legal entrepreneurs. It's, they're too busy running the firm. They're too busy, doing the work that they neglect themselves. So why do you think that is?
It's a great question. And it's actually my theme this year for 2025 is improving my health. And I really 100%, understand and agree with what you're saying, that if we don't take care of ourselves, we can't take care of anything around us. We can't take care of our families and our firms and our employees and our clients. I can tell you in my case, and this was kind of all in one, this is probably about 7 years ago, when I started, before I got diagnosed with ADHD, I noticed my health was slipping in a lot of ways. And I felt so much anxiety, and again, separate from ADHD, but often very closely related, was my anxiety. And so I felt so much anxiety about dropping the ball at work, or with a specific client, or whatever the case might be, cash flow, that I would wake up naturally at 5 a.m. and then 4 a.m. and then 3 a.m. and then some nights I would just lay in bed from 10 to 12. Once I in my mind I decided that I wasn't gonna be able to sleep, I would just go back to the office and just work on things. And so that's when I stopped exercising regularly. It was around COVID, where I kind of, once I got COVID, and then my lung capacity wasn't great, and so I stopped running. That's when I started walking instead of running. And that's always the first thing to go for me, is when you feel stress, is like, I can afford to not work out today, because if I took that hour back, how much could I get done at the firm? When in reality, it's those small and simple things that stack up over time that actually improve your health. Whether that's, the way you eat on a daily basis, how much water you drink, your sleep, your exercise. None of those in 1 or 2 days is going to kill you, but over the course of years, those will sink you.
Yeah. When did you start the accountancy firm and the law firm? What year was that?
End of 2017.
So 2017, it sounds like it coincides kind of with the time that you started to kind of, you kind of put the health to the back seat.
Yeah. And I don't know what the chicken and the egg was in that situation, but it's definitely around the time I started my firm, became an entrepreneur, that I did start to let my health slide. Before that, I was in good shape. I didn't drink a lot of soda. I didn't eat a lot of fast food. And part of that was a function of being a poor student. Right. So,
yeah.
And then once you get a little money and you decide I can just eat out, I can just expedite some of these things and forego my health. you start to make those decisions and those become habits. And then, before you know it, you eat out more than you eat at home.
Totally. Did you notice, or have you been able to notice since the beginning, whether or not your health changes have affected your quality of work?
I would say they certainly have the effect of my quality of work. Not in that I don't produce a good work product, but it takes me longer to get to that point. I can't do that very efficiently when I'm not taking care of myself. And at one point I wrote down this little saying that helped me kind of like focus on myself. I wrote down, no one wants to hire a slob. And I stuck that on my monitor. I was like, you got to take care of yourself, because if you don't, like, you're not only is your work product going to suffer, but your overall presentation. And, most of what we do is sales, right? No matter your profession, your sales are going to suffer because no one wants to hire somebody who can't even take care of themselves. No one's going to trust you to take care of their finances and their, legal problems when the perception is that you can't even take care of yourself.
Is that note still on your computer?
Yeah, it is. It's NOWTHAS. No one wants to hire a slob.
Can I make a suggestion?
Love that.
Would you remove it and then say, I am a healthy man, or whatever you want to say? Because I do think that there is a very negative thought to that, because that means you view yourself as a slob, and I'm looking at you. You're not a slob. And I think that changing that perception of yourself might help substantially.
I love that. Yeah, that's great.
And I've just made up something, like instead of like, I am healthy, or you can just say I'm healthy, like whatever it is.
It's interesting to say that. I did affirmations recently. I would put on my bathroom mirror. My first one is, I am a healthy person, right?
Yep.
Which is saying the same thing, but in a positive, reaffirming way. So 100% agree. Yeah.
If I don't know if you've ever read anything by Jason Selk, but I recommend reading some stuff by Jason Selk. He talks a lot about that stuff when it comes to mindset. Mm-hmm. He's great. And I can get you his information later, but it's one of those things that when you said that, I instantly was like, okay, we got to change that. That's something we gotta, because you obviously care. You obviously give a damn. So that's good. That's the starting point, caring, and then kind of going from there.